The NBA announced this morning it has suspended Memphis Grizzlies star Ja Morant for 25 games due to conduct detrimental to the league.
But you can't make money on the NBA doing this stuff. First of all, you're not a thug. You're not a criminal. You're not a crook. You're a guy making $100 million a year to dribble a stupid, $200 million to dribble a stupid basketball. Y'all hit the lottery to do something. There's people out there work 9 to 5, 8 and 9 hours a week, gonna make $25,000 a year. They would kill to be in our situation. You got to look in the mirror and say, yeah, you know what, maybe I'm the problem.
When looking back at the 2019 NBA draft, the top two picks being Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, these guys were looked at as can't-miss prospects and future pillars of the NBA for the 2020s. As someone like Zion Williamson, kind of a Charles Barkley-Shawn Kemp hybrid, and Ja Morant, a splice of John Wall, Westbrook, and D Rose rolled into one.
Loses it, little lob, another lob, and Ja throws it down. Ja, showing go, and a finger roll.
It's a defense, that's what it is all about. Morant on the drop.
Yes! That's awesome!
Ja's first 3 years in the NBA, he didn't just meet expectations, he exceeded them drastically. And by his third year, was a household name mega superstar and had one of the hottest jerseys in the NBA. But looking at the past 3 years, it's in a mixed bag of injuries, off the court scandals, and just lackluster play on the court. And I don't want to say Ja peaked at 23, but right now at 25 years old, it's kinda looking like that. As back then, 27 points per game, second team All-NBA, won the Most Improved Player of the Year award, and Memphis team finished second in the West with 56 wins. And looking back at that Memphis team, and one of the best young cores in the NBA that had tons of potential that rivaled OKC. As Ja back then was 22, Jaren Jackson also 22, Bane 23, Melton 23, and Dillon Brooks only 26. That Memphis team right there, they were young, hungry, had depth, and great coaching. At that very moment right there, the Memphis Grizzlies had championship potential. And if you ask any fan off the street, if that team win a championship, make a finals in the next 5 years, you'd probably say they would.
You are wrong! All of you are wrong!
This Memphis team's downfall was eerily similar to Ja Morant, their leader. As after one decent playoff run, one decent season, they became super cocky, overconfident, and carried themselves like multi-time champions. And of course, playing in the Western Conference, that's never a good sign.
Who do you look at around the league as you're studying and say, we're going to have to run through them?
Celtics.
No one in the West.
Nah, I'm fine in the West.
86-55. Ja had it knocked loose.
People out there that say maybe you shouldn't do that with one of the better players in the game. What were you thinking?
I don't care, he's old.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
As quick as that Memphis team rose to prominence, they fell even faster and landed even harder. As right now where Memphis is stuck at is the worst place possible in sports. They're not terribly bad, tanking bad, but they're not contending for championships or West Finals. They're in that no man's land where no one wants to be in mediocrity. As right now in the West, they're the 8th seed.
I'm fine in the West.
And looking at the most damning stat for the Memphis Grizzlies, for teams above 500, very pitiful 11-23. And versus the top two teams in either conference, they've been the Rockets, Thunder, Cavs, and Celtics. They are combined 2-10. Versus the Thunder 0-4, and versus the Cavs 0-2.
I think I can smell shite.
When you're in that weird gray area of the NBA, not competing, not tanking, two things are bound to happen. The first one, your superstar player will ask for a trade, ask out, he'll say he's unhappy. The second thing, the coach, he'll be in the hot seat, he'll probably get the pink slip. And since Ja's not being traded, Taylor Jenkins got the boot, he was kicked out. For Taylor Jenkins, a very good head coach, to be fired with 2 weeks left in the season was definitely pretty shocking. And look, directly, indirectly, Ja Morant had a hand in his firing. Do I think he was unhappy, didn't like the offense? I 100% do. And even if it wasn't that direct, Ja being hurt out of the lineup so much, I mean, it cost Jenkins his job undeniably. Much like Willie Green down in New Orleans, when your best player, your marquee superstar, face of your franchise, isn't healthy, available, isn't engaged, it's hard to grade you, the coach, how good a job you're doing. And looking at Ja the past 3 years, his total games missed is 124. Games played is only 122. That quite literally is a 1-for-1, plays this night, doesn't the next, plays that night, not the next. I don't care if you're Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, or Eric Spoelstra. If your best player marquee superstar only plays half the games, you yourself as the coach, not going to be as great as you should be, and the overall team's chemistry will be firing on all cylinders. Unfortunately for Taylor Jenkins in pro sports, coaches all the time get thrown under the bus and the first ones get blamed for a team's failures. The majority of the time, it's on the players themselves and the superstars first and foremost.
That's true.
Now, when discussing Ja Morant's decline, this guy back in 2022-2023, I mean the hottest thing going in sports, the Nike contracts, the jersey sales, the social media impact. Ja back then could not be touched. He was being called Iverson 2.0 and better than D Rose in 2011. That's how insane it was how much hype he had at that moment in time. But of course 3 years later, not so much Allen Iverson, but more so Steve Francis with a Nike contract. As looking at these two players start their careers, it's eerily similar. Steve Francis 99, his draft pick, number 2. Ja 2019, number 2. Their first years in the NBA, both these guys, Rookie of the Year. Second year in the NBA, 19 points per game. Third year, first time All-Star. Fourth year, All-Star again. Then their 5th, 6th years, things start veering off course, injuries, off the court problems, and everything in between. And for someone like Francis, he was so unlucky, so injury plagued, his career was done by 30, he was out of the NBA. For Ja Morant, I hope the best for him, but the Steve Francis career path looks pretty similar. And we're not even 26 years old yet, you've missed so many games, so much time, knick-knack injuries, elbows, fingers, ankles, everything in between. When you have those injuries prior to turning 30, they start mounting up very quickly. Right now, Ja Morant should be his physical apex, his peak as a player. Instead, he's injured, missing half the games, and not reliable for his team on a nightly basis. And one last thing I do want to do, looking at a player comparison, here's Ja Morant versus SGA back in 2022. These two guys as players back then, I mean pretty much neck and neck. And if you ask the average fan, even hardcore fan, they probably say Ja at that point was a better overall player with a higher ceiling. And looking at ESPN's top 100 rankings, Ja Morant was 9th place, the second best point guard. SGA was barely top 50. And of course, 3 years later, the script has kind of flipped. As SGA right now, not just a top 10 player, but a top 5 player. Ja Morant, what is he? Top 30, top 25? One guy in Memphis is barely the 8th seed, misses half of his team's games. The other guy in OKC plays nearly every game, leads the NBA in scoring, and is on his way to his first MVP and possibly his first championship. For two guys who were kind of neck and neck 3 years ago, to be so far apart nowadays is downright staggering. And the sad thing for Ja Morant, the only person he can blame is himself. After one half-decent playoff run and one great season, this guy got cocky, overconfident, arrogant, thought he was on top of the world. In 2.5 years' time, snap your fingers, it's over, Memphis is down, and a title contender was finals contender, not a contender for anything. Oklahoma City stayed the path, had no drama, and of course, going to be competing for championships for the near future. Like I said earlier, Ja Morant, he's not a what if. He's almost a could have been, but more so a, I expected more. When I think of Ja Morant, I don't think Iverson, Westbrook, even John Wall. What I think is Steve Francis, a guy who clawed his way in the NBA as a top tier pick, had tons of hype potential, reached that potential, and since that point, have done nothing of note. So that right there is the end of the video. And the last thing I'll say about the NBA, I mean, it is a business and entertainment league that wants superstars, marquee players. If you're a big time player, put up great numbers, you play games, you're going to get press attention and get pushed by the NBA. You don't play games, aren't healthy, have some scandals, they're going to withdraw their support and push you to the side. For Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, that's kind of already happened, and it's a sad thing. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.